what we're seeing is just a massive amount of interest among the venture capitalists in fintech, because I think everyone looks at not only the asset management space, but certainly the banking space could be completely disrupted, over the next 10 years, 5 years even. We've seen, just in banking, over 500 startups in the lending space, right? Because banks really aren't in that space anymore. And of course, 495 of them are going to fail. On the asset management side, if you think about what the millennials are going to do with their money, are they going to give it to mutual fund managers? That is high friction. It is a pain in the butt to open up the accounts. It's a pain in the butt to switch money around. And now, I don't know whether robo-advisors are really going to take hold. I'm sure some of them will. But I think that the peer-to-peer advising is a really, really interesting space in the self-directed accounts. So you have the ability to actually track other folks who have done their homework, and you could see their returns, and they could do it across asset classes, and you can say, just mimic him, her, whatever. And I could see that is very, very much along the social investing space. So I think that we haven't seen even the start of what's going to disrupt the asset management space. Right now, we're talking about ETFs, and that's certainly disrupting. But that's really the realm of the big entrenched players still. I think you're going to see a lot of the social investing space take hold. Well, the eruption is starting in Europe right now with MiFID II. And this has been in the makings and the works for the last few years, and it's still so complicated that they put it off for another year. It's supposed to be implemented January 17, now January 18. But the two primary components of that, one is the unbundling of research from commission payment, right? Which is really logical, and what that really points to is that you really have to earn your living. So there's been so much mediocrity in the research space just because there's been so much money in the commission side of things. So if you really want to sell your research, it's got to be high quality, and nobody's going to pay you a lot of money for the 7th report on BHP, right? Who needs that, right? And these big brokers don't spend a lot of time on the research of the smaller cap companies, because research in itself is not profitable. It's really the banking that's profitable, and there's not a lot of banking fees in the small cap. So I think that there's going to be a massive restructuring in this business, and I think that you're going to find more research outfits that are prevalent in other industries that come up and get paid per research report or on retainer, as opposed to a bundled price that no one really knows what we should pay and what we shouldn't pay. And the other side of this is the best execution spot. In the good old days when the exchange was the only execution point, and you had to go through a broker to execute, there was no differentiation. Everyone had the same execution capability, right? But today, you've got multiple different execution venues, and the asset managers have their own tools to get directly to liquidity. And with LiquidNet is buy side only. So for the first time, the buy side, the asset managers, has access to more liquidity than the brokers have. So we've disrupted the balance of power between buy side and sell side. So there's again way too much overcapacity across the globe in terms of execution capability on the broker side. You have brokers that could be great in research, terrible in execution. They should give up the execution piece, because that is costly, not from only their perspective, but if an asset manager executes through them and it's a lousy execution, it costs the investors. So I think we're going to be seeing something really positive happen across the globe. It's going to start in Europe, but of course there are so many global asset managers. They can't have one best execution policy in Europe and not apply it to the rest of the world. We're going to break out into the best of the execution venues or brokers and the best of the research brokers. And there's so many people that are best at neither, and those will either have to find a home where they can actually excel, or I think that they're going to be out of business.